Hello, this is Josh Erdman with our marketing video of the week, and we're doing a series on FAQs. We get a lot of questions. Most of them are about Google, and that's actually what we have in our queue of FAQs, more Google questions. The first one I want to touch on today is why do I need Google Analytics? We get a lot of clients that have websites, and we ask them, how many visitors a day do you get? And what pages do they frequent the most? And the answers are typically, I don't know. I don't know how to track any of that. And we find out that they're not running Google Analytics. There's a lot of tools out there that monitor websites. One of those is called Webalizer, for example. That might come built in with hosting. But the industry standard today is Google Analytics. And how it works, first of all, it's free. And it's a snippet of code that goes on your website, and it's on every single page. So whenever your web browser loads a page of a website, if Google Analytics code is in there, what it's doing is it's loading a little bit of code from Google. And when your web browser needs a load code, it gives back information. It says what page it's loading, what page it came from, how long it was on the page that it previously came from, all this data that comes together. And it's vital for marketing efforts. When you're looking at the traffic of your website, you'll know what pages people frequent, what page they started on. It's not always the front page. We've seen it every now and then where a client will have a very moving, popular blog article, and they get more traffic coming to their website, not from their front page of people searching for their business or their service, but because of a problem people are searching for, and Google's found their blog article is the best answer. So when you know that, that gives you an idea of what to do for marketing. In that scenario, I would tell them, write more blog articles. And by all means, write more blog articles like this one. So Google Analytics is extremely important. And when you look at your website, you might, this digital barrier might be difficult to understand and grasp. So think about being an owner of a grocery store. In most grocery stores, you'll see that it's a very high ceiling, and across the back or a side wall are windows. And there's a reason for that. The grocery store is analyzing the traffic, the traffic patterns, what aisles people frequent, and then looking at how the person is in each aisle. Are they in an aisle and are they lost because they're trying to find a product, or is it an aisle that's very interesting and relevant to them? How hard is it for them to find product? Those are all and what aisles do people frequent the most? So that way I can put valuable, very profitable items at the end caps to ensure that they get the most eyeballs and try to sell them more. That same type of idea, that same type of strategy is what you do with your website. What are your most popular pages? What page did someone come to? And then stop looking at your website altogether. Maybe you have a page that is frustrating to someone, or maybe even offensive, that you don't know about. So Google Analytics is vital. And anytime you do a paid effort, you might hire someone to do social media campaigns on Facebook. You might pay for a television commercial. And all of those efforts, when you show your web address in social media or on a TV commercial, or you're mentioned on radio, what you should see in Google Analytics is an uptick in traffic. You should be getting more visits because people are searching for your business and arriving there. So Google Analytics will show you that increase in traffic, and ideally it'll show you where the traffic's coming from. Each place that it can come from is called a channel. So you have search engine channels like Bing, Yahoo, and Google. You have paid channels, so paid traffic can also come from Bing and Google, but it's traffic that you paid for, so they clicked on an ad. You have a social media channel. Obviously, that's from your efforts on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Twitter. And finally, there's what's also a more common one called the direct channel. That's when they didn't come from anywhere, they just typed in your web address. Typically, that's when someone sees an invoice and they see your web address, or they read a TV commercial, they saw a TV commercial, they read your domain name, and they memorized the domain name. They didn't do a search for your company, they just typed in the domain name. So, or they got your business card and they saw your website address and they typed that in. That's the direct channel. So Google Analytics is vital if you're going to do any type of paid advertising or hire anyone to do your marketing who's claiming that they can get you more clicks and more visits. You want to measure it. And one of our core values at our company is being data-driven. And we use Google Analytics heavily to measure our progress for our clients. The other question I want to touch on today is, how do I get listed on Google? And there's a lot of different types of listings. So when people ask that, it's a very open question. And there's really two main answers. Number one is, how do I make sure Google knows about my website? There's a tool that Google uses called the Google Search Console. And you can do a quick search for that in Google, go to the Search Console, log in, and give it the address of your website. And you're asking Google, here's the address, please index it. When you're doing that, the most powerful thing you can do to please Google and make sure that they see you more relevant as possible is to have what's called a sitemap on your website. If you're using WordPress, there's a lot of common plugins that will automatically build sitemaps. Basically, a sitemap is a list of all the pages that you want Google to look at. So by all means, search for Search Console, go to that tool that Google has and submit your website for analytics. There's a little bit more of a difficulty because in Search Console, it's a diagnostic tool of how Google sees that site. So you also, to be able to be in those diagnostics, you need to be able to prove to Google that you own the site. So it gets a little complicated, and that's something that we can help you out with if you have any problems registering your site in Search Console. Finally, the other type of listing that's important on Google is called Google My Business. It's their business directory. You can go to something as simple as maps.google.com and do a search for your business name, or browse the map, go to your mailing, your physical address, and zoom in really far until your business pops up, and you can see if your listing is there. What I've seen is some very large popular companies have a listing, but it's because Google found it out on the internet and they haven't claimed their listing yet. You want to claim your listing so that way you can own your all the important data points that you have on your listing, such as your office hours and where you're located if you have multiple locations, and even post about your business. So by all means, check your business on what's called Google My Business and claim your listing. And I think, you know, at this point, both these efforts, the Search Console on Google, the Google My Business listing on Google, both of those efforts also exist inside Bing. Bing has what's called Bing Places, and Bing also has their own Search Console where you can submit your website. So if you have any friends and you want to do them a favor as well, check both Bing Places and Google My Business, which you can just do it by Google Maps, and search for your friend's business and see if it's claimed or not. If there's a little link that says claim this business, you know it's not claimed and you want to protect them. By claiming your business, you have better control over the business information. You have relevance. You've told Google this business is in business and is actively working to maintain a good relationship with the internet on creating a positive, strong internet presence. So by all means, definitely work on getting yourself listed. We have some more Google questions as well that I'll be answering next week. And by all means, you'll continue to send me your questions. They keep coming in, especially when I'm doing speaking and meeting with people. But I'd also like to get some more questions from social media. Coming up is going to be some SEO questions and some social media questions as well next week. So we'll see what those questions are. Have a great day.